Is that a spoiler? Pretend like you didn't hear that part. Hello everyone, my name is Jordan and welcome back to Jordy is Reading. So it's been a while since my last video and today we're going to talk about what I read in April. So let's get started. So the first book I read in April was Gilded by Marissa Meyer, and I didn't know that this was a duology apparently. I believe the next book is supposed to come out in November of this year, so didn't know that. But Gilded is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling, and I know I've talked about it like a million times before, but Heartless by Marissa Meyer is amazing. Any of her fairy tale retellings are really good. The Cinder series, the Lunar Chronicle series, they're all really good. I expected a lot out of this book. It was there. It wasn't quite top notch, but it wasn't like low of the low. It was good. I liked it. Not my favorite. So, Gilded follows a girl named Cerilda who is actually cursed by the god of lies. And she has kind of developed that lying thing into telling stories, like fantastical stories. So she is very poor. She's actually a miller's daughter, and her mom left them when she was very, very young. Her mom, according to her dad, her mom actually left them because of what they call the hunt, which is something that the Earl King does like every so often, like pretty much like every full moon or something like that. Something to that effect. But the hunt's pretty crazy for mortals. It's pretty crazy. So the Earl King and all of his dark ones hunt like wild game, like deer, stuff like that. They hunt wild game. The townspeople prepare for this kind of hunt. They stuff like wax in their ears so they can't hear the call of the hunt, so they don't like leave their house and then get trapped. And it's kind of like if you've ever read The Cruel Prince, where like the mortals can't drink or eat like fae food. It's kind of like that. You get so wrapped up in the hunt and you're just kind of there, and you'll like, they go on horses and stuff like that. You'll ride yourself to death, or you will fall off your horse and get run over and die. It's not uncommon for mortals to die in this situation. So it's kind of slow until you get to the hunt. This specific hunt, Cerilda is caught outside during the hunt, and she uses her gift and lies to the Earl King. She tells the Earl King that she can spin straw into gold, hence Rumpelstiltskin, and it just goes downhill from there. The Earl King's like, alright, come on, let's go. You are going to spin straw into gold for me. So the Earl King takes her back to his castle, where she has to spin straw into gold or he's going to kill her. That's not her gift. Her gift is to lie. So she can't do that. She's going to die. Like, what were you thinking? Your gift is going to kill you. So she kind of has to figure out how to do this, and she meets some crazy people along the way that help her survive, pretty much. The ending is a classic Marissa Meyer duology, like first book in the duology ending. You will not be disappointed by that. It is so bad, but in a Marissa Meyer way, if you know what I mean. I definitely look forward to seeing where the second book in this series goes, because I'm not really sure where you can go from here. At the end, it gets a little bit twisty. So just stick in there for that. But The second book is called Cursed, and it is supposed to be released November of 2022, I believe. Okay, so the next book I read is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. Not bad. Not... kind of got predictable, honestly, from what I'm remembering. But anyway, so this follows a group therapist. His name is Mariana, whose husband actually died a year before all of this takes place, and she hasn't really coped with it. It's really difficult, and she talks about a lot of it throughout the book, but it's really difficult for her. She actually gets a call from her niece, Zoe, who is at Cambridge and has called her aunt and was like, hey, yo, my best friend just got murdered. So Mariana immediately goes down there, and she, like, first day in, she immediately thinks it's one of the professors. I mean, is it one of the professors? Is she misreading all of these crazy signs? And honestly, these signs are, it very well could have been him. Or it very well could have not been him. You know what I mean? Like, the signs just... But apparently several of the girls and the girl that was murdered are a part of this group that the professor has made up. They're called the Maidens. They call themselves the Maidens. Apparently more than one of them dies because of the Maidens. Is that a spoiler? Pretend like you didn't hear that part. There's a character in the book called Fred. Fred is weird, but Fred is so good, if that makes sense. He's weird, funny, but he's good. He's a good person, good character. So the twist at the end is very odd, very psychological and mental, which makes sense considering Alex Michaelides wrote The Silent Patient. And if you've ever read The Silent Patient, it was not one of my favorite books, but it was very good. It was very mental and psychological, if that makes sense. But the twist to this book was also very mental and very psychological. I liked the Greek mythology tie-ins because even Mariana compares herself to Greek characters, her and her late husband, to Greek characters. I liked that a lot. You also get a little cameo in this book. Like I said, Alex Michaelides wrote The Silent Patient, and Theo, who is one of the characters in The Silent Patient, gets brought up in this book. So I thought that was actually really cool to tie in your books like that and to have them like stack on top of each other like that. That was cool. I had several unanswered questions, which, I mean, I didn't care to get them answered because I didn't care that much. It was just meh. Not like, oh my god, I gotta know. It was just meh. I liked The Silent Patient more, and I didn't even really like The Silent Patient, so 3 out of 5 stars, like I said. 3 out of 5 stars. Not my favorite in any sort of way. I like mysteries, but the psychological mental part I'm cool with. It's the lackluster events, I guess you would say. You don't even really get like any, I would say you get one good like, oh my god event in the entire book. And that's it. So it was meh. Not my favorite, but not my least favorite. I've read so much worse, I can guarantee. The next book that I read is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. This is the first in the trilogy, the Shadow and Bone trilogy. It's part of the Grishaverse. I will definitely be finishing the rest of this. I really enjoyed this. I bought the entire box set. I have it here on my desk. But yeah, no, I like this. I liked the first one a lot, and I am sad to admit that I really liked The Darkling. Is that bad? I mean, weirdly, I still kind of do. That's probably bad. That probably shows some weird mental psyche that I have. But I liked the Darkling. I like the Darkling. I feel like, and this could be very, very wrong, but I feel like he's going to get a redemption arc at some point. And if he doesn't, I'm kind of going to be disappointed. We'll see. But no. Shadow and Bone is a young adult fantasy that follows our main character, Elena. She grew up in an orphanage. She's very, very poor. And where she grew up is they do testing at a certain age to determine if you have any sort of special powers. She does this testing and it turns out she doesn't have any sort of special powers, so she gets to stay at the orphanage with her best friend Mal. Well, it's like 15 years later and they're both in the army and they're marching towards what's called the Shadowfold, which is this vast amount of land that has been entirely covered in darkness. And there's these creatures called the Volcra, which is like, they are the humans that used to live in this land, and once the darkness hit, they turned into the Volcra. And it's very hard to get across the darkness, the Shadowfold, but people have to do it in order to trade with the people on the other side of the Shadowfold. So it's kind of something that they can't really get around. They are marching towards the Shadowfold so they can make a trade with the land on the other side of the Shadowfold. Once they get into the Shadowfold, everything sort of blows up and Elena finds out she is Grisha. She has a power. It's been suppressed all of this whole time. She's sort of swooped up by the Darkling and taken to Ozalta. Ozalta. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. I don't care if it's right or wrong. So she's taken to Ozalta. The Darkling is sort of like the leader of the Grisha. He swoops her up. He takes her to Ozalta. He's like, listen, we're going to teach you how to be Grisha. It's going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You can fix the Shadowfold. She finally gets to a point where she can demonstrate her power at will. And then it all goes back downhill. Like, it was a great uphill ride. You're getting taught your power. All this good stuff. And now once you can demonstrate your power on your own, way back downhill. Way back downhill. Once she can demonstrate her powers on her own, several things come into play. They're not good things, let me tell ya. Not good things. But I really like the first book of this trilogy, which is called Shadow and Bone. I am going to be continuing the trilogy. There's Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, Ruin and Rising. I am reading Siege and Storm now. Pretty good. Pretty good so far. Yeah, I'm kind of kicking myself for liking the Darkling. Oh well. Whatever. Okay, so the next book I read, or should I say didn't read, is The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. I got bored, you guys. Once I met all the characters, I got very bored. And if you've read this book, please let me know if it gets better, because I DNF'd it. I did not finish this book. So this is a fantasy new adult book that follows 6 different characters who all get invited. They all have some kind of mythical power. Like, one of the girls can kind of control plants and make them grow, whatever. They kind of talk to her. But every time that happens, it makes her super, super weak. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember. But she has some power to do with growing plants and stuff like that. They've all been invited to the Alexandrian Society, which is the Alexandrian Library, which is why I thought I would love this book, because I am fascinated by the Alexandrian Library and it burning and all of that information being lost. Every 10 years, there's a new group of initiates that come in to the Alexandrian Society, and they are trying to win their place to be there. After you get out of the Alexandrian Society, you are promised fame, fortune, whatever you want, pretty much. Only 5 of them will get to be chosen, but there are 6 initiates. Only 5 of them are going to get to be chosen. This book is very character driven, which was fine in the beginning when I'm learning about the characters and what their abilities are. It was not fine halfway in. I am not a fan of character-driven books, so I think that's really what turned me off. But like I said, I didn't finish this one. I got a third of the way through maybe. It just wasn't for me. Didn't like it at all. So, but if you've read this book and if it gets better, let me know. I will maybe pick it up again later and see. Maybe I just wasn't in the right headspace for it right now. That's always a possibility, but I didn't finish this one. If you finished it, let me know in the comments down below if you liked it. While you're there, go ahead and give this button a like. Give this video a like, hit subscribe. Like I said, comment if you've read it and if you liked it. I couldn't get into it right now. I don't know. I couldn't do it. The next book I read is Our Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. So this is the final book in the duology series, These Violent Delights, which follows, it's a Romeo and Juliet retelling. It follows Juliet Sai and Roma Mosagov, and they're both on opposing gang sides. It's set in 1927 Shanghai, so that's very cool. I like that a lot. I like the 1920s vibes of it. Just mafia kind of feeling, if you know what I mean. This picks up where the gangs are being blackmailed. There are apparently more monsters from the first book. There are apparently now 5 of them. And they're being blackmailed by whoever is controlling these 5 monsters. There's apparently a traitor in the Scarlet Gang who is feeding information to the Montagovs, to the White Flowers. So, Marshall and Benedict. It frustrated me how long it took for someone to figure out about Marshall. I don't know, I just thought that it would come to light sooner than it did. But I loved Benedict, I love Marshall, they're amazing. Like I said, it did kind of feel drawn out. I did not see the twist at the end coming. Well, I mean, it's kind of it's at the end, but not at the end. That's a different twist. I did not see that coming. So that was fun. I'm also probably going to need therapy after the ending. Yeah, I'm going to need therapy. But I thought it was cute. I loved that last little glimmer of hope. The very end of the book with Elisa Montagov. That was cute. This book was really good. I think I enjoyed the first book in this duology better than I enjoyed the second book in this duology. I don't know, I just kind of felt drawn out and like it was retelling the same things that happened in the first book, which I didn't really understand with the monsters and stuff like that. I don't know, I just figured there would be a different task they would have to attack rather than having to figure stuff out with the monsters again. I don't know, that was just kind of a letdown. But I did enjoy this series. If you enjoy Romeo and Juliet, you will definitely enjoy These Violent Delights and Our Violent Ends by Chloe Gong. So I highly suggest them. So the next book I read, this is actually the last book I read, is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabah Tahir. This was kind of a comfort read. I was getting towards the end of the month and I was like, I just want to read something that I've read before that I love, that I know is not going to disappoint me. So I read An Ember in the Ashes. This follows Laya, who is a scholar, which is like, they're kind of lowlifes in this world where they live. They live in the Marshall Empire. And it follows Elias, who is in an academy for the Marshall Empire. He is in an academy for masks, which is like the lead soldiers of the Marshall Empire. The best of the best. No mercy. They'll cut you right open in a heartbeat. They don't care. So Laya's brother has just been taken by the Marshall Empire because they say he's a spy. He has been drawing things that you can only see in the Marshall Empire, and the scholars are not allowed to be there to see these things unless they are slaves. And if they are slaves, then you best not be doing any of this stuff or you're gonna die. But she actually turns spy for the scholars, because the scholars say that, for a group of rebel scholars, they say that they know where her brother is. They worked with her parents, like her parents are dead, but they worked with her parents. We can get him out, pretty much. And she's like, okay, alright, you help me, I'll do it. And so she's a spy for the commandant of Blackcliff. And Blackcliff is where the masks are getting trained. Top notch. Cut you up in a heartbeat. That's where they're getting trained. And that's where she is sent in to be a spy. So eventually, Laia and Elias's paths cross. And they're kind of in this situation where they have to save each other. So there are people called augurs who are kind of like mind readers. And their big thing is all about destiny. Like, it's going to happen one way or other. It's your destiny, blah, 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 blah. They have a much bigger role to play in all of this than you actually see in the forefront. They're back there working in the background, making all of this happen pretty much. The way Elias describes them, they're kind of creepy. I'm not a fan. So their big thing is destiny, and you can't outrun your destiny. It's going to happen. It needs to be followed. Things like that. They have a big role to play in all this. There's 4 books in this series. The latest one actually came out in December of 2020, I believe. And I don't remember reading that one. I'm going to finish out reading the series. Like I said, it's a comfort read. I enjoy this book a lot. I enjoy this series a lot. I probably don't do it justice talking about it, but I enjoy it a lot, and I'm definitely going to read it. I'm actually reading Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo, and book number 2 of this series by Sabah Tahir at the same time. So it's been fun. But yeah, that is my April wrap up. I'm not gonna do a May TBR only because it's like, it's already the middle of May, and I just don't want to put that much pressure on myself. So I will do a wrap up again for May on what I actually did read. It probably won't be as much as I read last month. I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. Like I said, I'm reading my comfort reads right now, so we'll see. I did go to the library the other day, and I did check out The Night Circus. If you've watched my unboxing video of Owl Crate, there were some things in there that had to do with the Owl Circus. The Owl Circus? No. The Night Circus. So I want to read that so I can kind of get a better understanding of why these things tie in and why they're so cute, because they're so cute. I'm going to link that video down below because I love the Owl Crate box, you guys. That was my April wrap up. If you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. If you have anything you think I should read, leave them down in the comments below. While you're there, give this video a like. It really helps. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!